Hello dear students, today we are going to learn operation research. In our subject, we will first start with linear programming. So in LPP, there are three important parts you need to remember. The first body part is your objective function, where your Z constraint is important. So yes, your Z constraint is to be maximized or to be minimized. Many times the sum of profit is given. So at that time you have to write maximize Z, because with limited resource we try to make our output to maximize our main objective function. Whereas sometimes a cost question is given. So in question the cost or maybe time utilization, so we try to reduce the efforts. So that time your mean construction is there. We try to minimize the Z constraint. And yes, this is the most important function in our sum, because it's the objective. What's objective playing around it? Moving towards the second part, subject to constraints. Subject to constraints, always remember that we have limited resource. So with limited resource, how we utilize it? So yes, there would be three important things that we need to remember. Suppose this x1 is your STC. So yes, it can be greater than or equal to some amount. Suppose it can be less than equal to some amount, or sometimes it should be equal to that amount. So these three conditions we need to follow. We will see in our sum. And yes, the third important thing, whether we take x1 variable, x2 variable, it should be non-zero constant. Non-zero constant means it should be greater than 0. So this way our linear programming formation takes initiation. So always remember, the first important thing, you have objective function where your Z is to be maximized or minimized. The second is subject to constraints. So always remember, subject to constraints or STC is your resources. You need to remember whether it is greater than some amount, whether there is less than some amount. It is given in a question, we will find out. And yes, always remember, sometimes it's equal to. In duality sum, we will see this kind of constraints also. Moving towards more important, non-zero constraint. Always remember this variable x1, x2, whatever we take, it should be greater than 0. So this is the body of your LPP.